Howdy folks, Mark Serbu, gun designer, gun nut. My name is Mark Serbu and I am a fan of 30 Super Carry. And I am 12 to, how do they say that? Believe it or not, I've never been a drug addict or an alcoholic. I've never had to go to a 12-step program, but I see references to it in movies. Anyway, 30 Super Carry, it's really weird how I stumbled across it. I was looking for something smaller than 9mm, but more powerful than 32 ACP. And I was looking around for some kind of 32 Magnum, so all I came across was the 32 H&R Magnum, which is a rimmed revolver round, so that wasn't it. So I'm like, man, somebody needs to come up with some kind of, non-rimmed 32 that's kind of a Magnum. And this was like, I don't know, 2 years ago I was looking for this. And at the time, it had actually come out. It had been out for a year when I was looking for it, but for some reason, it didn't cross my path. And I just happened to be looking on some online forum, and somebody was mentioning 30 Super Carry. What the hell is that? And I looked it up, and I was like, my God, this is exactly what I was looking for, and it's just weird. So what I'm not a fan of is this pistol. It kind of seems to me like the gun equivalent of the prostitute in George Orwell's 1984. If you don't get that reference, you go read the book. It's a very good book. They used to make us read it, but now they probably don't because it kind of spills the beans on what everybody's up to in government. But anyway, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of overdone. It's like, it's made to be like too cool, too many curves and cuts, and it's just like, it's like a girl who's way overdressed for an event that is not that dressy. I don't know, but yeah, it's a Smith & Wesson. The only reason I got it is it was the first thing that crossed my path in 30 Super Carry, and I wanted to play with the round, and I'm like, okay, well, here we go. And as you can see, it's, well, let me see. Let me grab a 9mm here. All right, so what I noticed, the ammo guys don't consult me when before they go make new ammo, but what I noticed is here's the 30 Super Carry, and here's 9mm, and here's 45, and here's 10mm. Looks like they kind of just use the same playbook. It's like, okay, well, let's keep the cartridge overall length about the same, which requires them to flatten the nose, which looks kind of weird, but that's how you have to do it, I guess, because the case diameter is smaller, so they have to make it longer to have the same capacity, or I don't know if they need the capacity, but whatever. So 30 Super Carry, you can see in both cases, the 10mm to the 45, the 30 Super Carry to the 9mm, case is a little longer and it's smaller in diameter. Now, the cool thing about 30 Super Carry is that the ballistics are, they say they're almost equivalent to 9mm. Some say they are equivalent, it just depends. And to me, it's more than I need, I think. In fact, I was even looking at hot rodding at 25. Yeah, I know. But how many rounds have I fired at bad guys in the, 40 years I've been carrying guns? Answer is 0. So I'm more interested in carrying, period, than carrying something that's going to make someone fly back like they do in the movies, So if you're like me, you're probably wondering, why on earth do I need another caliber? Yet another caliber. And trust me, I feel your pain. Here's a quick look at my current ammo situation. And trust me, this is not all of it. But are you a procurement officer for an army? Do you have to worry about your supply chain? Do you have to worry about keeping a minimal number of different types of rounds and cartridges? I mean, for most of us, we have the luxury of just getting different guns, whatever the hell we want, and ammo type. I mean, I picked up an old, just a little over 100-year-old Winchester 92, and it shoots 25-20, which is weird, obsolete, hard to find, but I got some rounds for it and I can reload it. Same with, I got another model, lever action model 95, which is in 303 British, which is pretty strange for that gun, but I've got a machine gun that uses 303 Brit also. So anyway, you get lots of different cartridges and not worry about it because it doesn't matter. Now, one factor, of course, is the cost, and unfortunately, at this point, the 30 Super Carry, you can get 9mm for about 18 cents a round, 19 cents a round, really cheap, which is awesome because I remember in the middle of COVID, it was about 46 cents a piece. That was actually getting to be a deal. Who remembers that? Let me know in the comments. That was awful. But now 30 Super Carry, it's about 30 36 cents a round. So yeah, it's more expensive than, you know, the 9mm, which of course has a 100+ year head start on it. And that's just, you know, it's going to be your carry gun. Do you really care how much the ammo costs? Especially if you're going to start reloading for it, which, you know, is very easy to do because the big players are in it. Remington's in it, Winchester, Federal. So it's still cheaper now than 9mm was during COVID. You know, last time I said COVID-19 during a video, I got a whole lot of placement of my video where it otherwise would not have been. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that. So you'll probably get the little banner across the bottom. So the great thing about 30 Super Carry is I'm calling it a modern cartridge. Not that 9mm isn't modern, but if you look, it was done a long time ago when metallurgy wasn't the same as it is now, and so they had to be careful with their pressures. And 35,000 psi in the 9mm, that's pretty high pressure for the time. It was, you know, 45 is 21,000 or something. But then again, it's a bigger bullet. You don't need the high pressures. But the 30 Super Carry is 51,000 psi, and that's pretty awesome. I mean, I get all excited about high pressures just because, you know, it's you look at how all of this stuff has gone over the years. You know, you're shooting black powder stuff, and black powder is just pure crap compared to nitro powder. And then when they got nitro powder going, then it was like, yeah, now we got to break the sound barrier. Now we got to break the sound barrier by 2 or 3 times. And now you got rounds out there like the 460 Smith & Wesson that's 65,000 psi, which is like, whoa. And then you got this 277, the SIG 277 Fury, which is 80,000 psi. Holy crap! I mean, that's crazy high. That's but you know, the thing is, the higher pressure you can get, the more efficient you are with your gunpowder and with your, you know, putting your bullets down range. I don't know. I like efficiency and power and all that, and that's what we do in this world, you know. So anyway, the 30 Super Carry is a modern cartridge, high pressure, so it's efficient for its size, and that's great. And because the size being smaller now, you can fit. I think this little Smith & Wesson holds. I think it holds 15, 13. I think, you know, there are different magazines for it, but the point is, for something in that capacity range from the, you know, 12 to 15 rounds, you can maybe even 10 to 15. You can get an extra couple rounds in 30 Super Carry, and that's great if you're a firepower kind of person. You want as many rounds as possible. That's awesome. Or if you're like me, where you're getting old and decrepit and you don't want to carry this big gun around anymore, now you can carry fewer rounds, or you can carry pretty much the same. Like I've been carrying this little SIG around, you know, the P365. It's you know, it's 10 rounds, but this thing's, yeah, it's heavy. Yeah, it's so heavy, but you know, keep it in your pocket. You know, you want as light as possible. Now, if you had 10 rounds of 30 Super Carry, pretty much weighs about the same as 8 rounds of 9mm, and that's pretty cool. And yeah, plus smaller diameter rounds, you can stack more. That's what we're talking about. But it's more compact as well as being lighter, so that's great. I don't get out too much, and I don't read the gun magazines, and you know, the only stuff I see about guns is some of the forums I go to, and Instagram and X. And one thing that kind of gave me hope is gun guy Rob Pincus was talking about 30 Super Carry and how he liked it, and that's cool. Somebody who's really into defensive handgun is a big fan of 30 Super Carry. And you know, the worry for all of us for any kind of round we're going to get is it going to become obsolete someday? And you know, it's always a possibility, but when you've got the bigs behind it like Remington, Winchester, Federal, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Hopefully it'll never go away. It'll come down in price like the 9mm. It'll be everywhere, and I think it'll make a great little carbine round too. That's something exciting as well. The main thing I like about it is it's compact, and it has almost the same ballistics as a 9. Now I don't even care. Like I said, I haven't been in a gunfight since I've been carrying guns for 40 plus years, and hopefully never do. I mean, I'm going to say that's a lot of us hope, but some of us are like, yeah. To me, most bad guys just don't want to get shot. They don't give a crap if you've got a 22 or a 25. They're not going to laugh. You got a 25? Yeah. Tell your mom you got shot in the face with a 25. You know, it's still going to do the job. 22, 25, 32, 380, 9mm. 30 Super Carry. They're all, you know, if you've got a gun on you, and I find that when I have a tiny, lightweight little gun, I used to carry a 380. In fact, I used to carry a 32, the little Kel-Tec 32, which is kind of minimal. But God, it's so light. You don't, you come home and you don't go unburden all your pockets of all the stuff because it's so big and heavy. It's just like you have this thing on you all the time because it doesn't weigh much at all. It's not bothering the crap out of you. So it's nice to have something that's small and light and yet still does a job. I don't know, you might have heard me mentioning this in some other social media, but I'm messing around with taking an FN 5.7 and chopping off right at the neck and making that into a little pistol round. You know, as a straight wall, that thing is right about 7mm, and of course nobody makes a 7mm pistol projectile, so that's kind of a pain right off the bat. But I can machine my own and see how that goes. And that's a really tiny little round. That'd be great because you could stack. Heck, you could double stack that and have 15 rounds. You fit that in the same size as you fit like 9 or 10 rounds of 9mm. That'd be pretty awesome. And a light gun that doesn't kick the crap out of you. Again, you know, I want something in a carry gun. I want to make sure that I've got a gun that I'm going to carry all the time. And smaller and lighter that is, the better. And you know, I'm not worried about trying to get through tons of clothing and stuff. I'm here in Florida. You know, nobody wears thick, heavy clothing, and you know, there's always the shoot 'em in the face option. I was just in Africa, and my goal was to shoot a Cape buffalo in the face, and I did it. And you know, there's a running joke about me shooting everything in the face. It's just watch too many movies. So the obvious question: how does it shoot? Well, we can't really do an apples to apples comparison because I don't have two of the same gun, one in 30 Super Carry and one in 9mm. So we're just gonna see how it goes. I mean, it does fine. See how it goes against the SIG in 9mm. All right, so SIG P365, similar size and everything. But obviously a completely different gun. But, you know, gotta use what you got, right? I don't know. Very different feeling guns, but no, I don't know, let's switch back and forth. I don't know. It's hard to really know. You definitely feel different.
Yeah. Saying I don't know and oh, these guns feel different isn't exactly a highly technical look at the difference between 9mm and 30 Super Carry. Luckily, there are lots of videos out there on YouTube that do have pretty technical looks at the differences between these two calibers, so I would suggest you check them out. So what do you think? Is 30 Super Carry for you, or is it one caliber too many? And speaking of one caliber too many, who can name how many different calibers you saw when I was showing off a little bit of my ammo collection? Let me know the answer to both these scintillating questions in the comments, please. If you're like me, you're always wrestling with the idea of trying a different carry gun or trying a different caliber. Well, I suggest you at least give the 30 Super Carry a shot. Who knows? It may end up being the perfect carry round, but you won't know until you at least try it, right?
Well, folks, thanks very much for watching. Appreciate you as always. Catch you next time.